Hello, hello. Just getting myself situated. What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing? Okay, let me know if you can hear this audio before I get started. Oh no, there's no sound on the video underneath me. I just thought it would look kind of nice in the corner. But I'll play the song in a second. I just want to wait for people to show up. So, hello, Mr. Cat. Hey, Time Fragment. Hey, Beat Lord. Hey, AG Productions. I can't do a full rig rundown with you, but I could show off a guitar. Okay, great. I'm loud and clear. Good. My Jaguar's right here. I can show you my Jaguar if you haven't seen it. This is my baby. So this is actually not the guitar in the video, but it is the guitar I used to record the guitar parts in the recent single. The guitar I have in the music video is this limited edition black and gold SG that I've barely ever played because it goes out of tune so badly. But it looks really cool, so I figured I should use it for something. It is pretty intimate. I knew there weren't going to be a whole lot of people because I I announced this last minute, but yeah, the black SG I got in about 2016, 2017. It was a total splurge move on my part. I thought that at the time I was trying, so I have a half stack back there somewhere, and I think in my mind I was gonna have this really loud setup for my band stuff, but then I stopped playing in bands right around that time, so it just kind of sat there for a while. But I still have the half stack. So maybe one of these days, one of the next Vitesse X shows, I'll bust it out. Okay, well, I don't know. Does anyone want to listen to the song with me? Let me know. I might wait one more minute. There's honestly about a 30-second delay, so I'm just waiting for responses. You've always been pronouncing it Vitesse. I feel like Vitesse works too. I heard some people were calling me Vitesse, which is not accurate. But you can call me whatever you want. Okay. It's 8:05. I think I'm going to play the track now. And then I'll just talk about my songwriting process after. Give me 1 minute. And let me know if it's too quiet or too loud for you. Ooh. Wrong spot. Sorry. Oh, thank you guys. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you, Mr. Cat. I'm glad you can pronounce my name, Tea Leaf. That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess I'll talk a little bit about the track. I wrote it, I started writing it in July. I was out on a trip with my family overseas for about a week, and it was like my first time just away from New York in a really long time, because obviously because of the pandemic and everything. And I'd just been hustling for so long between my job and just like this music project and everything. I was like going pretty hard with everything. My album had just dropped pretty recently. So yeah, I went on this trip, and then we decided to do this sunrise hike in the morning, and I've done it a couple times actually. But yeah, we woke up really early and hiked up this mountain, and then I kind of got ahead of my parents. So by the time I was up at the top, I was just kind of alone on top of this mountain, and I was just there watching the sunrise by myself. And I don't know, something very, really special to me, just being able to like be alone in nature. And there's something that really just resets my whole system. It like reminds me of really what's important, and just like, you know, the importance of just living in the present moment and just embracing the present moment. So I kind of took that with me when I came back to New York, and I was kind of like immediately thrust back into the New York hustle and grind again. But I wanted to try to extend that feeling as long as I could. So I also had just gotten my new synth, my Oberheim OB6 synth. So I was playing around on that a lot, and I just wanted to like start a track, just kind of experimenting with sounds. And but I wanted to try something different with my songwriting approach. So I was like, okay, maybe instead of just like thinking about a concept or just going into it without any thought at all, which is honestly normally how I do it. I just kind of throw things at the wall until something happens. But this time around, I was like, okay, I'm going to have some level of intention behind this song. So I was like, I might as well just put myself back into a setting and try to soundtrack that setting. So I decided to sort of put myself back on top of that mountaintop, watching the sunrise, and just trying to like soundtrack that moment. And so those synth lines at the beginning was kind of like the first step into that. And then slowly but surely it evolved into more of like a pop structured song. And I also, in the back of my head, really, really wanted to showcase more of like my shoegaze roots at some point in my music career. And so it just felt so natural to throw some like bendy guitar, reverbed out guitar sounds on there. And I also wanted to play around with a little bit of like just merging the gap between shoegaze and drum and bass. Obviously, it's not on the hard side of it, but like more on the ambient side of what that would mean. So yeah, and like that's kind of the gist of it. But I don't know, this track is like pretty special to me. I feel like I learned a lot from the last record. I think the last record was my first step into being a solo musician in many ways. And I didn't really go into that record with a concept in mind. I was just really experimenting with different genres and trying to find my voice with that record. And so I was able to sort of see, after I put that record out and after I put songs out on that record, what resonated most with me and what resonated most with everyone else. And I kind of noticed a trend where when I was being more honest and raw, that seemed to stick harder with people. And it also was kind of validating because I was like, okay, cool. I can just write music that's more true to myself and people will like it. So that's that was a lot of like the intention going into this track. I was just like, I want to be raw and honest and more vulnerable, and I don't want to be swayed by external pressure. I just want to write something that's sort of like straight from the heart. And that way, even if people don't like it, I still like it. So that's all that really matters at the end of the day, is like if I make something that feels really true to me. So that's kind of what happened with this, and I'm really happy with it. And then I can talk about the music video a little bit. Obviously the audio wasn't syncing up with the music video. I realized that after the fact. But yeah, down below is the music video without audio. So I decided to shoot the music video for this about 3 weeks ago. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. Just, I knew I needed to have some visual element out with the track. So, I didn't want to do it in a way that felt forced. I wanted it to honor the meaning behind the song. So I decided to do something a little bit more DIY and raw and honest. And so I took a trip out to Montauk just about 3 weekends ago. So it was it was right at the end of January. So it was pretty cold out. Happened to be on a pretty nice day though, luckily. And me and my partner just walked around the ocean front, and this time of year there's no one around, so it's like honestly the best time to shoot a music video out there. And I think it was a really perfect place for it because it did showcase that sort of like isolation in nature that really inspires me. So we did some of that, but I also knew that in the video I wanted to do something that highlighted what it feels to sort of be in the moment, that like potency of being in the moment. So I knew I had to like really honor the song and do something a little bit out of my comfort zone. So in the end of the video, I decided to go jump in the water. The water, I looked it up, it was about 40 degrees. So it was, I think, the coldest water I've ever jumped into in my life. And I was crying for a second. But when I got out, I just started laughing. Like it was like the perfect moment to end the song with. And I feel like it really honored the song in the best way. So yeah, you'll see that in the video if you haven't already watched it. It was very cold. No, that wasn't unused footage. No. And okay. So I'm like blurred out. So for a reason, but I wanted to go in with my bathing suit, but I had like this bright yellow bathing suit. So I got in once before, and I was like way more submerged the first time. And then afterwards we watched the video back and we're like, dude, the yellow just does not look good. So then I was like, fuck, I have to go back in the water and do it all over again. So the scene that you see is actually the second time I went in the water, not the only time. It was the second time. And by that point I was already over it, but it was pretty hilarious. And thank you, Nikki. AG Productions asked where the Right Now sample is from. I honestly can't remember. It might have been like a Splice sample or something. I don't normally like depending on Splice for a lot of my samples. I like kind of digging, especially for vocal stuff. I like digging to like weird interviews and stuff, but I think maybe it was just in my library and I just pulled it out. I wanted it to sort of like be like this short, very like staccatoed spoken sample that you would hear maybe in like a drum and bass track, but like put that into like a dream pop track and I don't know, create something maybe you haven't heard before. So, yes. Thank you, Tea Leaf. What else could I say about the track? I have yet to play it live. That's one thing. So, I'm really excited for this next show that I have in March because it's going to be the first time I get to play anything that... So, I have like 17 songs or something that some are finished, some are half finished for my next record, and I haven't played any of them live yet. So I'm really excited to see how it sort of works in a live setting. I feel like the bass is pretty heavy with this, so it might sound good. Sounds like a Timbaland sample. That's funny because I've actually really wanted to like incorporate a Timbaland style sample into my work. So maybe I don't even have to try anymore. Drum rap to dream pop. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's I'm really testing the threshold of this genre blending with this song. But that's like the whole point of writing music to me in many ways, is to just create something that people haven't heard before and blend all of the different pockets of sounds that I love into one thing. Mark asks, what are your thoughts on Fly to You by Caroline Polachek? I don't know her songs by name, so I'm sure I've heard it. I think Caroline Polachek is great. That would be cool to remix some of her stuff. I still haven't done any remixes myself for anyone because I'm so heavily focused on just really tapping into my own sound. But I think once I wrap up this album, I'm going to go really heavy into the remixing for sure. Oh, the Dido and Grimes track. I'm not a hater. I thought it was nice, but I did listen to it and was like a little underwhelmed, I guess. I mean, that's like the most major collab I could imagine. So in my head, it was going to be like the most profound work of art ever made. So it didn't really hit that bar, but it was, it's a vibe. It's a vibey track. Mr. Cat's got his tickets. Hell yeah. You all should come to the Market Hotel show on the 25th, something like that. Chris, remind me the date. It's going to be my first live set since Electronicon, and we're going to have Bruce Smear, who's a legend and hasn't played in like 7 years or something. So you should definitely come for Bruce Smear. DBI, who's a savant. She's incredible. The 23rd. Thank you. And then we got a special guest that I can't say, but you really don't want to miss a special guest. And then Swords, who's working with my label as of recently, and she's so awesome. Such a vibe. And I haven't mentioned this yet. My new song that I just released right now is out on Flexi. So you can buy that online now, or you can come to the show and get one. And I have signed Flexis if you want to sign one. I actually have the website right here if you'd like to see. Here it is. So this is the cover to my single shot by Guario. I'm really bad with the last names. First name Guario. And okay, here's the Flexi. Guario Rodriguez Jr. That's the last name. Yeah, here's the Flexi. It's transparent. It looks really dope. And these are almost here. Haven't arrived yet, but I have new sweatshirts for sale. So you can pre-order them, or you can get them at the show. So there you go. In the Balance is not on Flexi, no. I would love to do something physical with In the Balance at some point, because the album art for that is just beautiful. Oh, okay. I guess I can tell who the special guest is. I don't know if you guys have heard of Pendant, but he's really dope. Okay, the bundle is being weird on the track. The bundle is being weird on the website. It says sold out, but it's not. Ah, sick. Yeah, that tour that I went on in 2021 was my first time playing out ever, really, as Vitesse X. I did my first show ever as Vitesse X about 5 days before I left on tour. So if you saw me on that tour, it was like totally my first run of all those songs. Flexis, I don't know if they have B-sides by design either. Probably not, I would assume, but there is no B-side to this, no. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned this. So In the Balance is coming out in physical form. I'm stupid. But it's on the music website comp. So let me show you. There we go. And it looks really cool. And we still have some unreleased tracks on here from DVI, Floated, DJ Cam Girl, Swords, and Couch Prince. All the unreleased material is so sick. But yeah, this is basically just like most of the artists on the label, friends of the label, and limited run. So you'll probably want to get that before it's gone. Oh yeah, we got the test press today, and it sounds awesome. I actually haven't heard it, but that's what music website says. Oh, I guess I could talk about our show that we had on Friday of last week. It was our first music website show ever. And me and DVI DJ'd, and then we had Vape Error perform. I don't know if you guys have seen Vape Error live, but he goes really hard. And Couch Prince and Floated, and it was super fun. So I'm really excited for the official launch, because that was already pretty crazy. What were the first and last tracks created from Us Ephemeral? Like, which songs did I write first and last? Is that what you're asking? Vapor is a friend of the label. But we're going to be releasing some DJ Camgirl stuff. And I don't know, DJ Camgirl is an alias, yes. Couch Prince is awesome. Check them out if you haven't heard them. I'm trying to understand. 100% finished? What do you mean? I got some questions also from I did like a little AMA on Instagram, and I didn't get to answer everyone's questions. Let me see. Okay, I cannot pull it up. Well, if you have questions for me, let me know. I think I could probably talk more about the music video that I shot. This spot that I'm standing at with my guitar is like about 1.5 miles, 2 miles out from this parking lot out in Montauk, and it's this really secluded area. And I found it about 2 summers ago. In the middle of the pandemic, I was just kind of trying to find new trails to explore out in Long Island, because in my head, Long Island's just kind of, it's not really the place you want to go to be with nature exactly. So I just wanted to kind of like see if there was anything worthwhile. And then I came upon this forum that was talking about this trail that led out into the ocean, and it was just like this really secluded zone, and you wouldn't really find many people walking there, mostly surfers. So I decided to drive out to Montauk and check it out. And you're basically like walking through brush for about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, and then just like all of a sudden it clears open and you're just overlooking the ocean alone, with just like these beautiful drop-offs that kind of look like you're in Malibu or something, and like beautiful rocks lining the water. It's not a sandy beach or anything, but it's so beautiful. And so the first time I went, I was just obsessed, and I didn't really want to tell people about it, obviously, because it's like a secret gem. And then I decided this past summer to go back because I loved it so much. And so this might turn into a really long story, actually. So basically, I went out there with my partner and my dog, and we walked through the brush. It's kind of like a chillier day. It might have been more like early fall, actually. And so we walk through the brush, we get down to the beach, and I'm just ready to kind of like zone out and just hang out by the water. And then I look down and I notice that there's these tiny little specks that are moving up my legs really fast. And there's like thousands of them just moving up my legs really fast. And so then I start like rubbing my legs really hard and kind of like screaming a little bit because I had no idea what it was. So I tell my partner, and he's like, oh, they're probably like sand fleas. I mean, they kind of suck, but don't worry about it. Just brush them off of you. And so, but when I brushed them off, they were kind of like stuck to my legs. So I ended up having to jump in the water to get the majority of them off. And then I come in the water and we realize that it's all over my partner's legs and all over my dog's legs too. And at that point, we're kind of like freaking out a little bit. We didn't really stay too long because we're like, yeah, we got to go. We got to get back. Even though our drive back home was like 3 hours. So at that point, I'm having kind of a nervous breakdown, but I was like, okay, if they're just like sand mites, they're harmless. It's just going to be annoying. Like, I'm just going to have to take a shower and get it all off of me and all off the dog. But it's harmless. And so we end up driving back. We have to like pick up dinner. And so by the time we get home, it's probably 4 hours later. And then we realized we got locked out of our apartment. So then we had to wait for a locksmith for about an hour. I told you this was going to be a long story. So locksmith came. So by the time we get inside, it's been like 5 hours later. And I immediately jump in the shower, try to rub them off. But like I noticed that they're kind of attached to me at that point. So I'm like, I had to rub really hard. And I feel like I got most of them off. And I'm like kind of relaxing at that point. I'm like, okay, I got most of them off me. I lie in bed and I look down at the sheets and there's still thousands of these things all over the place, all over our sheets. And so at that point, I became a little concerned and I started looking up some articles. And the articles, the first things I found were, oh, you think these are sand fleas? Actually, no, they're not. They're larval ticks. And I'm like, no way. There's no way that these are ticks. So I thought ticks came like, you get like one tick on you. You have to pull it off. I didn't realize they came in packs. But as I'm doing my research, I come to find out that larval ticks work and congregate in groups. And the specific species of larval tick is Lone Star tick, which weren't native to Long Island up until a couple years ago because of climate change. They've now moved up because it's warmer for longer in Long Island. So now they can thrive in Long Island. And the Lone Star larval ticks, they don't wait for you in the brush. They chase after you in the brush. So that's what happened to us. We had these larval ticks chasing after us, and they just decided to fully attack and get all over our clothes, all over our legs, everywhere. So eventually I had to do like the dog shampoo and everything, and I was just having a nervous breakdown. I went to like a bunch of doctors I sent out some ticks for testing. The good thing is larval ticks don't carry Lyme because they haven't fed off a host. Yeah, so I did the dog shampoo thing and got as much as I could off my dog, but for the next 2 weeks, this is really gross, but for the next 2 weeks, there were like engorged ticks falling off of my dog, and it was just like a horrific sight for about 2 weeks straight. And that's my story. And it was fairly traumatizing, to be honest. I was really having a nervous breakdown for a while. But it's funny. I'm just bringing this back to Vitesse X world. It's funny that I had this traumatic experience in the fall because this is the same spot I decided to shoot this music video at. This video that's all about being one with nature and being in the moment and, this like ethereal, tranquil, peaceful place. But in reality, that was not always the case. This place caused me a lot of trauma for a second. Yeah, it was a nightmare. But that's the backstory. You only for your ears. We'll keep the illusion alive. Okay, I'll answer some questions that popped up. AG Productions just asked. I did a meditation, yeah. That is not something I always do. I did, so yeah. Telepath, I did hear that he would do a cleansing ceremony before his sets, or he was planning on at least doing one before Electronicon. And I did really like that concept, to like kind of start the day off with just like some good intentioned mindset, communal mindset. So, and it just happened to be like the same time I was trying to get more into meditation routine myself. Like I had just bought a meditation chair, and I don't know, I was just kind of like doing a little bit more in my day-to-day routine. So I was like, well, since telepath can't do it, maybe I'll just come in and do like a little brief meditation thing. And I decided to do like a spoken word thing over just like a little ambient track. But after that, I was thinking about maybe doing a series or something. This hasn't happened yet, but I still want to do it. I was thinking about doing a series where I just have like an ambient track, and then I have a friend do some spoken word meditation over it, and then post it to YouTube, and just like have a series of different artists who do their own very personal, distinct guided meditation on top of my music. I think it might happen. I've just been really distracted, but I do want to, like, I've always been into this idea that music needs to have purpose in a time where it can feel like music's just about, numbers and streaming and money and all that stuff. Like I want to kind of reel it back to the main reason why we love music in the first place. And so I do want to do things like that just like bring us back to the true essence of why we love music so much. Thank you. I thought it was a nice way to open my set. I do think that that set was a little cursed after the fact, but yeah, maybe I'll do it again at some point. I like having a moment where we can all just take a deep breath together before starting the day. How easy is it for me to write music at this point in my life? It's a good question. It has been a very busy time for me. I think during the pandemic, that was when I wrote my last record and started this project, because I just had a lot more time on my hands. I was working from home and then just like wasn't really going out, and I was able to really focus for the first time since I moved to New York. So I feel like that was such a blessing for me to have that moment to just finally prioritize songwriting and production. But now it feels like the past year it's kind of gotten back to that grind lifestyle a little bit. So I'm just trying to manage. I've been feeling overwhelmed a lot here and there when I try to take on too much. So like, I think I made a very ambitious goal of finishing this next record by March, and I was getting really overwhelmed by that. So now I'm just kind of trying to take it one song at a time. And when I do it that way, I actually get a whole lot more done when I just decide to have one thing to focus on. So I have another track that's pretty much done. I might need to like work out some kinks, but I plan on putting that out in the spring. And then I have a bunch of tracks that are pretty much done actually. So Yeah, I'll probably be putting out a few more singles and then hopefully the record after that. It's just a matter, finishing the record is going to be what's going to be the hardest, because I think it's just going to be hard to decide like what songs to prioritize to finish first and second and third. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, I haven't been writing a whole lot in the past month or so, just because of all these releases and then the label and all of that. It's more just like when I have time, I'm wrapping up songs that I'm close to having done. So it's more just like re-recording some vocal lines or like adding a layered synth line here and there. But yeah, I haven't like sat down and written a song in a while, and I think I need it. So once these couple weeks pass, I think I'm gonna get back into it again. It was so that show was kind of cursed, I say, because my laptop was just bugging out on me, and I kind of know why. It's just like a hit or a miss if it's gonna work, because I got an M1 Mac and I am pretty much running all of my synth stuff through Native Instruments. So unfortunately, that's like the one company that has major compatibility issues with the M1. So I use like the massive synth for everything for my live set, and that's the one thing that isn't compatible. So basically I have to run my M1 on Rosetta, and it just creates like dropouts and it's really laggy. So that's what was happening. And then it was my first show it was pretty much the first show I had played during the day, and I wasn't taking that into account because my Ableton push wasn't the light wasn't strong enough, so I couldn't even see what was happening on my push. And then I had like a couple other things that were like something was unplugged, and my like XLR kept falling out, and it was just like one by one things. It was so like I have to be so focused for that set because there's so many things going on, and it was like each thing would just like be fucking up on me. And so as I'm trying to play, I have to like be sort of troubleshooting at the same time. So I might have not been visibly freaking out, but internally I was definitely freaking out. But it was fine. It was an opening set, so it was like a little bit lower pressure, even though I was playing to the most amount of people I've played to before. But at the same time, it's like I had the rest of the day to kind of just like hang out and talk to people, and it was still fun. But I gotta get my act together before this next show. What else could I talk about? How often do I put a track on ice and come back to it later in the writing process? A lot. I have one song that I'm going to be putting on the next record. It was already kind of done, but I didn't feel like it fit the last record, so I didn't put it on it. But it definitely fits this next record. And I started that song in 2016 or 17. Back when I was just really into like dark wave, and I was just into completely different music at that point. And I had just gotten back from Berlin, actually. And I had like been partying at Berghain and shit, and I was just really inspired by my trip. And so I wanted to write a song that was kind of dark wavy, but like also inspired by Jacques Green at parts. So I was playing around, and so I had this song in my folder for years that I like certain elements of it, but it just like wasn't really hitting the mark for me. And then I just decided to like bring it back one day and reapproach it more with like my ambience, break beats, progressive house, just like that type of inspiration behind me. And I sort of reimagined the whole thing, and then I wrote, to me, it's one of my favorite tracks ever. I don't think it's like single worthy or whatever, but I love the vibe of the song. So that I'm going to probably putting on the next record. So that's like years of just waiting to put that song out. And then, there's so many tracks. There's definitely some tracks that I was working on for the last record that I just couldn't figure out. And so I've been coming back to those, and kind of like, it's almost like you're remixing your own song sometimes. You're just taking bits and pieces and sort of just like collaging a new track out of it. So I have a lot of songs like that. It'll start as a completely different song, and then it'll turn into something totally different. Any places in the world I hope to one day play a set at? Many. I think I've always in my head wanted to play in Berlin, though, above all, just because, like I was just talking about, it's like definitely been a place that has inspired me sonically, and just kind of like every time I go and come back, I feel like it changes the trajectory of my music career in many ways. Because the first time I went to Berlin, I was playing in bands, and I was just a guitar player. That's all I had in my head. And then I came back and I was like, I'm done playing guitar. I just want to play electronic music now. So yeah, Berlin's top of the list for sure. And then probably like Mexico. I feel like I have everyone that has played down there that I know has just an incredible time. Maybe Brazil as well. And Japan, definitely Japan. I feel like, from what I can tell, like I have a lot of fans out in Japan. Like I get posted on Japanese blogs and stuff a lot. So I think it could be a fun time out there. Also, I've just never been. So I would love to just go and be a tourist. Any experiences with a mean sound tech? It's funny because I was a live sound engineer for 7 years or so. So before this project, that's all I was doing. I was working live sound, and I was touring, doing live sound work. And I think prior to that, when I was in bands, I definitely had just not great experiences with sound engineers. You always got like sort of just this snobby, apathetic sound techs who just kind of roll their eyes at you if you had like any request whatsoever. But then once I started working as a sound engineer myself, I have a lot more empathy and compassion for what they go through. And I think I do a really good job. I pride myself on just how I sort of enter that situation. Like whenever I'm like going into sound check or whatever, I like have everything they need. I have everything written down. I think they really appreciate just me kind of like prioritizing their needs in a certain way too. So now I feel like every Vitesse X show I've done, it's always been very chill. So yeah, I think it just really helps that I have that background, so I kind of like know what to do to keep them on my side. But I mean, I was kind of aware when I was working live sound of that stereotype, and I definitely made it a priority for myself to kind of do the opposite. And sometimes I would definitely just be like not having it one day because the artist would just be awful and annoying and mean. But for the most part, I just showed just an ounce of care, and I would always just make sure their needs were met. And it would be funny because I would always get the comment like, you were the nicest sound engineer I've ever worked with. And half the time I wasn't even being that nice. But I think people are so scarred from really horrible live sound experiences that the bar is very low. I do record with this, yeah. Yep, I need to upgrade. I need to upgrade a lot of things in my studio, but I'm working at it. There's just like so many expenses as an artist, you know, whether it's music videos, photo shoots, mixing, mastering, all that shit. It just adds up to the point where when I do have a little bit of surplus income, I want to buy a new synth or something. But eventually I'm going to get a new mic for sure. I've had to run audio for noise artists many times, yeah. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dream Crusher. I've run sound for them a few times, and that is always an experience. Well, it's funny because they always have like a request to turn off all the lights. And normally the manager is like, we're not turning off the lights. We're not doing that. But eventually I feel like they always kind of get their way to turn off all the lights. So every show it's just been like completely black, and then it'll just be like this one strobe in front of their face and just the most like insane harsh noise for 45 minutes. But sometimes when you've been working sound for like a lot of bands that all sound exactly the same, it's kind of refreshing to just sit and listen and do sound for a noise set. I've also done sound for let's see, I'm trying to think of some noise artists. Martin Rev, I've done sound for a couple times too. That was so incredibly loud. I could not have turned it up louder in the monitors for him. But I knew that I was in the presence of a legend, so I kind of just did whatever he told me. Yeah, set was good. You're collecting my vinyls. Sweet. Get the Flexi if you haven't gotten it yet. Yeah, I honestly feel like I probably have a million more stories as a sound engineer than I do as a musician, because I kind of just gave up playing music to do sound engineering for a long time. And I definitely fell in love with it for a while. Like, I just kind of saw myself doing that for a long time until the pandemic. And then I had to like change course. Martin Rev is a legend for sure. The last tour I did sound for was for Beach Fossils and Negative Gemini. And that was in 2020. So it was in January 2020, right before the lockdown happened. So I remember being in the tour van with them, and we were like getting notifications on our phone talking about this coronavirus, and we were all just kind of laughing about it because it didn't seem too serious in our minds. And then a month later, life changed. But that tour was the pinnacle of my career as a live sound engineer, for sure. It was just so much fun. Yeah, I guess I can show you some of my gear. I know I was asked about some gear before. Let's see what I got. All right. Here's my TB3. That made a feature on pretty much every song on the last record. So, and I use that live. And then I can't really show you my Oberheim, but that's my latest purchase, and that is gonna be more so the feature of the next record. Oh, you see my dog? Yeah. He just wants to go take a shit. And then this is a present that I got for my birthday. I haven't really it hasn't made a feature on a song yet, but I'm trying to dial it in. It's just like super acid. So I'm just trying to make it make sense on my stuff. But maybe I'll have to hold off for a dance track. Oh yeah, someone asked me about what DAW I used in the AMA on Instagram. I use Ableton for everything, but I use Logic at work. So I'm pretty Logic proficient, but I prefer Ableton for like all my songwriting purposes. To me, Ableton just feels more it's very visual for me. So in many ways I feel like I'm a painter or a collage artist when I'm making my music. So I feel like Ableton just has a way of being extremely visually focused, especially with the plugins and everything. So yeah, I decided to just start using Ableton after using Logic for a while. I started using Ableton probably in 2016, and just that's been the only thing that really works for me now. Oh, I have the Oberheim OB6, and it's the module. So it's a little bit more portable if I want to play it live. Although I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't want to risk breaking it. Ableton feels daunting at first, but I think if you just like go into it just focusing on what you do know and then slowly expanding off of that. So, I mean, it's helpful being familiar with a DAW before going into Ableton, obviously, but yeah, I think over time it just sort of kind of compounds the things you know. Like, I definitely had a hard time navigating for a while, but I just knew what I wanted to get done. So, you know, just like did tutorials here and there, and then like now it just feels really natural for me to navigate. So you just got to be patient, I guess, but definitely just keep sticking with it. Consistency is key for understanding software like that. I don't have a dedicated drum machine. Yeah, I just kind of I'm all over the place when I produce. So like I feel like every time I'm making a drum beat, it's like kind of in a different way. But yeah, I'll just use like drum rack and throw samples in, and a lot of times I'll take like a break sample and I'll deconstruct it and like either just through like listening to it and being like, okay, I want to have like the snare on at this point in the beat, or I'll do like the convert to MIDI and then kind of just like restructure it a little bit. So a lot of times I'll start there, if that makes sense. I haven't recorded to tape. I think I want to at some point. I did talk to my friend Carlos about probably around this time last year about maybe sending some stems off to him because he has a tape machine. So I've been considering hitting him up to do that for some of this new stuff. Yeah, we'll see. I'd like to. Any artists from the late 90s, early 2000s who inspire my music? Yeah. I feel like so many. I mean, a lot of the artists I feel like from the era, I can't really exactly say if they were like late 90s, early 2000s artists or if they were more like 90s artists, but like I think right now I've been heavy into I mean, first of all, Aphex Twin was always just the king for me. I think that's really like what opened the door for me into electronic music. Probably, I mean, between that and Kraftwerk, obviously. And then, well, I've been listening to, since probably 2 years ago, I've just been going heavy with like progressive house. So, and like jungle, drum and bass. So yeah, just a lot from that era. I listened to a lot of Orbital and The Orb and yeah, progressive house, stuff like that. And I'm trying to sort of use that as pretty heavy inspiration for this next record, actually, and just try to modernize that sound. So yeah. But I also, I mean, there's a lot of artists I listen to now that are very influenced by that sound. So it's like by default, I'm very influenced by the artists coming out from that era, just because all the modern artists I listen to are influenced by those artists, if you know what I mean. So I'll be shredding. I'm always going to be shredding. I do think I'm probably, well, so this next record, there's a lot more guitar work in it than I would say the last record had. So there'll be more shredding in this record. I'm I'm not really sure what's going to happen after this record. In my head, I think I want to go more into just like straight dance. But I always say what I want, and then my subconscious kind of wants maybe something else. So I don't really have control over the process when I'm songwriting. It just kind of decides for me. So I think guitar will always make a cameo with every record I put out, for sure. I love to stream every week. I love being able to like actually engage with people in this way. And like honestly, I'm so exhausted from doing just like the social media game. It's not even within my personality type, I would say. I'm like pretty I don't know, like fairly introverted, so I hate having to constantly focus on like the forward facing sort of like superficial interaction element of just like marketing my music or whatever. So doing these types of streams is great because I feel like it's actually real and genuine. And I've been thinking very heavily about doing something more consistently. I don't think it would be just me talking, but I think now that I have this label, I'd really like to bring artists on and have conversations with them, maybe have some DJ sets, and yeah, and at my job I run interviews all day long, so I'm taking notes from these hosts. I feel like I have some tools now to do some interview style things. So yeah, I think definitely be in the lookout for more sort of like, I don't know, engaging streaming type things in the future. I feel like I can only do AMAs for so long, so. Matmos. I haven't even heard of Matmos. Give me an album and I'll check it out. Hello, Pat. I'm trying not to drink except for the weekends, but today it's been a long week, so I found this in my fridge. Yes, I'm drinking a hard seltzer. Yeah. I work in a studio, so this week my coworker has been out in Trinidad, so which means I'm the only engineer on site. So I've been trying to like promote this single at the same time I'm like running the studio, and yeah, it's exhausting. But I don't know. It's just pays the bills and helps me keep my music going, so it's worth it. What are my thoughts on, is that Boards of Canada? I'm going to make the quick assumption that that's Boards of Canada. I love Boards of Canada. I think I started listening to Boards of Canada when I was a senior in high school, and I feel like it kind of just made my brain explode for a second. And I was also listening to like a lot of Radiohead, and I was just like Fortet. I feel like I was really like getting more into music that like helped me transcend in a way, like introspective transcendent music, lush introspective transcendent music, and that has always sort of like been my thing since then. So I think Boards of Canada was like a huge inspiration for my sound even now. Not that I've like delved heavy into their discography, but it just like it sort of it showed me like a new door to go down. So yeah, big fan. It would be great to have DJ friendly extended edits of more of my singles in the future. Yes, you are preaching to the choir, because I want that too for my own DJ sets. So yeah, it kind of sucks because I'm like in the DJ world and I'm DJing, but I write music that's not really necessarily DJable. I mean, you could like pop it on for more like a vibe, but it's not something you could really dance to. So, and that's not really my intention when I'm writing music. Like I just said, it's like my music's more like introspective, late night drive style. So I'm going to, and I am currently reaching out to some artists to do more remixes for my stuff. And I'm sure I'll start doing it myself. But it's a lot to think about. I have too many songs to finish to start doing remixes of my tracks. So I'm just going to maybe outsource for a while. But I'll get back to you on that because I really want some remixes for my tracks too. Supreme Balloon. Glitchy like Square Pusher. Okay. Sounds great. I'll check it out. I kind of just answered this question, but I really don't play my own music during my DJ sets. I feel like the stuff I DJ is very different from the music I write. It all has like, I feel like everything that I like to DJ has some like sort of like transcendent quality, and it's definitely more melodic than like some DJs in the scene. I feel like there's like a lot of DJs just like don't want to do the melodic thing. I'm all about melodic music, but I don't really think my music is great for DJing. It just doesn't, it's good for other purposes. So it'll happen. I'm just gonna give it time. Thank you, Cosmetology. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, I'm really excited for the next record too. I think I just need like a couple months to really focus. It's been a very distracting time, but in many ways I feel like having like the friction in life, a lot of things sort of like working against your time to make music can be helpful at times, because it gives you like a passion. It gives you like this yearning to get it out and to make it happen. So that's how I feel right now. I'm just like every waking second of the day when I can't be working on this album, I'm just like, that's what I'm thinking about. So it's making me in many ways like that much more passionate about this record, because I have to fight for it. So yeah. And it's nice being able to sort of just like release singles in the meantime. But I have the structure of the record lined out. I have the song listing kind of laid out. It's just a matter of really finishing each track because some of them are more just drafts. Like, it's definitely gonna need some work. But the vibe is there. The vibe is definitely there. I can upload stems for sure. Yeah, I don't know how best to do that. I've been thinking of maybe like starting, not like a fan club or anything, but like just like an online group to sort of like maybe share files, maybe release some limited edition things. There's like, now with this new label, I'm just like kind of scheming on all the possibilities of what we can do to like build more of a community around this, because I think we're doing a decent job of building a community IRL, which is great, but I want to keep doing that online. So yeah, I think once I figure that out, I can have more of a channel for releasing stems and everything. For sure. Okay, Chris answered this question already. Great, because I was gonna forget. The music video is filmed on a Sony VX 2100E from 2002. We actually bought it. Getting this music video done was pretty insane because it was really down to the wire. And I knew I needed to have something out with the song. I just felt like it would be kind of an injustice to not have some visual context around the song. So, like I said, I don't know if you heard before, but like 3 weeks ago, just randomly decided to take a trip out to Montauk and shoot this video. And we ordered that camera, I think less than a week before. And it said it was going to be delivered the day that we were going to leave. So it did. It came on time. And if we didn't have it, I don't know, we would have made do with like our handy cam that we had, but it definitely would not have come out like this. So we got super lucky. We also got really lucky with the weather. It was cold, but it was really sunny on the first day. So we were able to get all those like really sunny shots with the guitar, all the reflections. Because we tried it again the day after and it was very cloudy and it didn't look as cool. So yeah, felt like stars aligned for this video for sure. It's not like the most perfect video of all time, but that's kind of the point of it. It was supposed to kind of just be this spontaneous, raw thing. And I think it came out perfect in that sense. And I love that camera now. We've been using it for everything. We've been taking it out to shows, doing a lot of like documenting of the scene. And yeah, we're going to be posting a lot of videos of our shows and everything on our website. So, or not our website, our blog, which is, you can find it on our website. See? Our blog. Yes, here. So if you haven't, you should subscribe to our Substack because that's where we'll be posting the videos. And you can go to music-website.com. Thank you, Tea Leaf. I'd love to get a remix of Repress Reprise. I'm definitely down to send stems, especially of some of those tracks from the last record that just like kind of in many ways have gotten buried. Especially that song. Like that was the first song I released on the record, the first song I released as Vitesse X. And I always thought it could be a good song for remixing. So, but no one's taken a stab at it. So yeah, if you want to send me your email, I can send some stems. Um, yeah. I guess I should talk a little bit about some stuff coming up. I have a dub lab mix coming out next week, which is exciting. I decided I've been like really into trance DJs lately, so I just decided to go like full old school trance for this set. So if you're into that, definitely check out my dub lab mix coming out next week. And then yeah, I have like a ton of DJ sets coming up. I have one this weekend. I don't even know where it is, to be honest, but that one's like more of just like a fun party thing. But I have a DJ set at the Lot coming up before my show at Market Hotel in March, and it's gonna be my first Lot set, my debut. So I'm really excited, and that's gonna be streaming. So if you want to check that out when that comes out, but I'll make posts about it. Yeah, I mean, for anyone in this chat that wants stems right now, send me your emails. But in the future, I'm gonna maybe find a way to have like an easier channel for posting my stems and everything. Any more live stream mixes? I would love to. It is really, really time consuming to do those, unfortunately. I feel like I had so much fun doing those. It also was great for me to just be practicing pretty regularly. But I was only really doing those when I was working from home. So the thing is, when you're posting to YouTube, you have to go through like kind of this long process of, so I'll build my set, I'll get the tracks, download all the tracks, and then I'll have to throw them into Premiere, export them as a video file, just like all the tracks. Then I'll upload it to YouTube, and I'll do it unlisted. So when I do that, it'll show me if any tracks are flagged for copyright. And more often than not, especially for the older stuff, older artists really don't like the monetization or anything. They just like do not want you to play their music on YouTube. Probably maybe because they don't want people ripping it or something. I'm not sure. So once it gets flagged, then I have to kind of restart the process again. So then I have to like change up my set, re-download songs, do it all over again until nothing's flagged. And then once I do that, then I can I'll set up my green screen. Well, I have the green screen always set up just in case, but I have to set up my CDJs. I have to get everything set for streaming, and then it's a whole long process. It's like a good couple days. So with everything happening right now, it's just hard to find time, but I love doing the live streams of my DJ sets. I'll really try to maybe do like a monthly thing at the very least soon. And and then one more announcement. I'll be DJing Public Records the day after my Market Hotel show, and Pendant will also be performing there. Pendant's really dope. I feel like I haven't met him yet, but I feel like we're kind of on the same wavelength a bit, because he likes to describe himself as like shoegaze breakbeat artist. So I'm like, dude, that's all I ever wanted. So yeah, he has a great vibe. I'll start streaming weekly soon. I don't know in what capacity, but I'll figure something out. Yeah, it's really crazy. Like, I mean, this goes for a lot of things, just like the online illusion, if you will. Like, But especially with YouTube streaming, when you're streaming music, it's a very precarious territory, because I've already gotten a warning, and then they can like shut down your channel for however many days, for weeks, and it just jeopardizes the whole thing if you just accidentally play a song that's listed as not monetizationable or whatever. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I guess that's why people like using Twitch more, but I don't think that's really I haven't delved into it. I just prefer to do everything on YouTube just because all of my stuff's here. And then for archiving purposes, it's great too. Donzi. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Donzi is an awesome band. Yeah, Dennis and I used to play music together. Dennis is I guess he plays bass more so in this band, but he's a drummer as well. They're from Miami. They're just like a art rock project, post-punk, no wave. And they're so sick. Yeah, they played my release show last year. They're awesome. Yeah, I won't go to Twitch, don't worry. But just so you guys know like how long of a process it is to get these DJ streams up. If it was faster, I'd be doing it on the reg for sure. Mixcloud is good for, yeah, I was posting my mixes on Mixcloud for a little bit. But exactly, it's tough to get people to show up. I feel like YouTube's just great. It's familiar for people. I think like the familiarity aspect of YouTube just, it brings more people. So I'll probably stick with YouTube. It really is a shame that it's not easier to play music. It really is a shame, because if it wasn't for that, it would be fine. Yeah, Donzi, they have a great sound. Yeah, a little bit of Talking Heads. They remind me a lot more of like, I was getting really into no wave music for a few years. And they remind me a lot of the artists coming out of that scene. Just like dance punk, I guess you could call it. But yeah, they put on a show. They put on a wild show. And I thought it was like a nice, interesting touch to I don't know, because I was playing like basically vaporwave shows, so I was like, let's spice things up and get a punk band in between. And I think it was a great move. I think it like just keeps people moving. I think after a while, seeing people behind their computers after every set, that can get a little old, you know, myself included. His name is Pendant, is the shoegaze breakbeat artist. He's got a lot of other styles in there too, but there's some nice heavy shoegaze guitars in the mix here and there. Oh wow. Yeah. I would never want to risk having to take down my or get deplatformed because of a song. Like, yeah, it's too risky. Okay, guys. I might have to call it a night. It's getting close to 9:45. But I think I filled you guys in on everything coming my way soon. I think if you're in the New York area, you really don't want to miss the Market Hotel show. I just feel like every artist on that bill is just so good. And I don't know, the vibes were so great last weekend. I feel like there's a really good community going on in New York. Like, if you want to call it the indie scene or whatever, like it just feels alive again. It feels like it's breathing again. So, yeah, definitely come through. I'm working on putting out a new single pretty soon. So I'll let you know about that. And don't worry, I'll be posting on socials about everything. So you'll be in the loop. But, yeah, it's great to hear feedback from you guys because not just for myself, but for the label. I think we really, really want to make an effort to like have some type of online community as well as the IRL community. But we really want to have something going for just like staying up to date and having conversations. So I'll let you know more about that in the future. We'll get some stuff going soon. So I'll let you know. And yeah, I think I already got hit up with some messages about sending stems. So just let me know what song you want specifically, and I'll send some stems your way. Cool. Well, thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you pretty soon. Bye.